Hello children, welcome to another session of Geography Class 8, and today we are going to start with a new chapter called Migration. So for the benefit of those who do not have their books, this is a scanned page of the book Migration. So let us focus on migration. So let us understand, what does the word migration mean? Human migration denotes any movement by human beings between one geographical region to another with an aim to settle definitely or temporarily. That means when humans are migrating or moving from one geographic region to the other and with the motive of settling there temporarily or permanently, then we call this term as migration. Humans have always moved around. Archaeological evidence suggests that the earliest human beings on earth lived in Africa. From there, they moved and settled and then moved on again over many thousands of years until they eventually settled the whole of the planet. So, what is it that it was found by the archaeologists? That the earliest human beings, they all lived in Africa, and from there they started moving to different parts of the world and settled there and again started moving, and this is the way they eventually covered the whole planet. Okay, now the next page, please turn over to your next page. From the ancient times, please focus. From the ancient times, travelers, traders, priests, and pilgrims traveled vast distance for knowledge, opportunity, and spiritual fulfillment, or to escape persecution. For these reasons, there have been from the ancient times, we have seen the travelers, traders, priests, pilgrims, they have been moving vast distances either for knowledge, for opportunities, spiritual fulfillment, or to escape persecution. They have been moving from one place to the other. Though the pace of migration had accelerated since the 18th century, but including the involuntary slave trade, it increased further in the 19th century. So over the century, what we have seen is that the rate of migration accelerated. Okay, now millions of agricultural workers left the countryside and moved to the cities, causing unprecedented levels of urbanization. This phenomena began in Britain in the late 18th century and spread around the world and continues to this day in many areas. Yes, we have been seeing the paper, we've been coming across newspapers where it is mentioned that many of the laborers are stranded in Mumbai, or they are not able to reach their places, hometowns, the villages they want to reach, and sometimes they are moving in mass movement. So such news are these days, and the government is making efforts to bring them back home, and how they are. So there are these, they are actually migrants. They have migrated from their countryside, from their villages, rural areas to the cities for the work they have, for work opportunities they have migrated there. But since the lockdown, since they have no work now they want to return back to their hometown, and as such they are moving. Sometimes they are moving without, they're just walking millions of kilometers back to their home, and things like that we come across every day in the newspapers. So this is a type of migration, which is agricultural workers are leaving the countryside and moving to the cities. And now when there are too many people moving towards the cities, what is causing? It is causing unprecedented levels of urbanization. They are forced to live in slums there, and then many type of problems occur. This phenomena began in Britain in the late 18th century and spread around the world and continues to this day in many areas. Industrialization, globalization and technology are the major factors which have contributed largely to migration. Children, please note the major factors which have led to migration. It is industrialization. Due to industrialization, there were job opportunities, globalization and technologies. All these attracted people from various rural areas to move towards these industrial regions and settle there. So this was a type of migration. Migration may be broadly classified as international and internal migration. So migration may be of two types: international migration and internal migration. International migration is where the movement of population from one country to the other across the international borders is called international migration. When we are leaving our country and moving to the other abroad countries and we are crossing the international borders, that is termed as international migration. Now, international migration becomes immigration or emigration. Now, there are two terms. I think we have come across these two terms earlier: immigration and emigration. Now, depending on how the place of destination or the place of origin is considered. Though immigration and emigration are the movement of people from one country to the other, the former means movement of people from a country and the latter means the movement of people from a country. In simple words, immigration can be called as moving into a country and emigration moving out of the country. To make things more simpler, just look at this here. Now, emigrate. When you are leaving your home country and you are going abroad and settling there, you are an emigrant. You are emigrant. You are moving out of the country, of your home country. Immigrant, when you are immigration, is when you are coming from some other country and settling in our country, or settling, we call you an immigrant. When you are coming from a foreign country and coming to our country and settling, we call you immigrant. I am sure this will be more clearer to you. Emigrate, exit, you are exiting from your own country, and immigrate, that means you are coming from other country and settling here. So again, here a person who indulges in immigration is called an immigrant, and those who indulge in emigration is known as emigrants. An immigrant is one who migrates to a nation, and an emigrant is one who migrates away from his home country. Immigration and emigration can be applied to the same person. For example, if a person moves away from your country to live in another country, then that person is an immigrant to you. But for the other country, he or she is an immigrant. That same person is an immigrant for the other country, but for you, he is an immigrant. So, instances of Indians migrating to other countries have been noticed in the historical times, and in the 19th century, many Indians migrated to Mauritius, Burma, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Fiji, Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad, South Africa and East Africa as laborers and settled permanently there. So they have been leaving these places. They're leaving our country, India, and going to these places and settling there. And what were they doing actually? They were actually settling there as laborers. Now, partition of India in the year 1947 resulted a large-scale migration of population from India to Pakistan and Bangladesh and vice versa. That time, children, Bangladesh was East Pakistan, also belonged to Pakistan. So people were migrating from East Pakistan and from Pakistan towards India, and people were leaving from India to Pakistan and East Pakistan. So vice versa, people were coming and going. There are other years, you can see these pictures where there is large scale movement of people from one country to the other. This has been termed as one of the greatest movement of human beings in the history of the world. About 15 million people moved across the border since 1970s, across the border. So you can see that people are moving across, thousands of people are moving across the borders. In fact, millions of people are moving across the borders, and here is a picture in your own book where you can see this. Now, since 1970s, highly educated people and skilled professionals have migrated from India to some of the most advanced countries such as USA, UK, Canada, and some countries of Western Europe, leading to a serious problem of brain drain. Now, after this 1970s, we could see that the cream layer, very educated people, they were leaving their own country and they were settling abroad. Especially the advanced countries, they were settling US, UK, Canada, Western Europe, European countries. And that means they were not working for their own nation. They were using their brains to work for the developed nations. So this was a serious problem, and this phenomena was called the brain drain. So you can see the brain drain. The intellectuals are leaving the country and they are going and settling in another country. They are settling and working for the other developed country instead of working for their own country. So this term was known as brain drain. Brain drain is the migration of skilled human resources for trade, education, and better opportunities, etc. Trained and skilled professionals are needed in every part of the world. However, better standards of living and quality of life, higher salaries, access to advanced technologies, and more stable political conditions in the developed countries attract talent from less developed areas. So, from the less developed countries like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, then Sri Lanka, all these developing countries, people were leaving these countries and they were going and settling in the most developed countries or the most advanced countries of the world. Okay, so now back to your chapter. So, why were they going there? For better standards of living, high quality of life, higher salary, access to advanced technology, more political condition, more stable political conditions in the developed countries. These were the things which were attracting them, and they were leaving their country and going and settling there. The majority of the migration is from developing to the developed countries. So, majority of the migration that has taken place till now, that has been seen that they are mostly from the developing countries to the developed countries. This is of growing concern worldwide because of its impact on the developing countries. Now, the developing countries are at a loss. These countries have invested in the education, training of the young health professionals. This translates into a loss of considerable resources. These people migrate with direct benefit occurring to the recipient states, whereas the cost of educating and training is borne by the home country. So the home country is bearing the cost of education, training, but after getting the education and training, these intellectuals, they are leaving their country and they are going and working for the advanced country. So it is a great loss to the nation who are educating them, training them and spending so much on them, but ultimately they are going out and working for some other country. So the other country are at the benefit. Okay children, so we are doing till here today. But before we go, a small assignment for you. Now on page 30th, the short answer question. I'm sure you can do these in your interleaved copy, like the define migration. What is international migration? What is the difference between immigration and emigration? Define brain drain. And what is internal migration? Children, I expect you to do these 5 questions in your interleaved copies. Okay, thank you. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you.